Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I hope you're having a great day. I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. And I should say the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always strive to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, like I said, big giant thank you to my moderators. You are the best to ever do it. Could not and would not do this without you. So much appreciated. But I should also say, make sure that we are blocking people and putting people in timeout who actually deserve it. If people are asking a question or something like that, and it's, maybe a tad bit annoying, don't block them. Now, y'all know who to block. If they doing too much, yeah, block them. But people just asking questions, or, maybe they're not saying the same thing that's being said, don't block them. Because I have people contact me, I was blocked. And, when I look into it, it's like, yeah, y'all, they shouldn't have been blocked. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, enough of that. We're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Brawl. That's Cincinnati. I think that's how you say it. Cincinnati Brawl in Ohio is a reminder that Black folks are done with the disrespect. Of course, I took the liberty to, put as much of it together as possible so you can get a full understanding, I guess, to what we know at this point as to what happened, because I see a lot of people drawing all these nefarious conclusions, of course, believing them folks, and because their mouth is a prayer book, right? So people believe everything they say and all of that. So we're going to get into it and have a conversation. And as you guys know, next week is August 5th, right? And if you know, you know. Anyway, Donovan, what say you?
All right. Welcome, you guys. If you guys are getting a chance, we are live. This is not the podcast aspect of it. We are live. If you didn't see our last conversation, please download that, hit that like button, and do what you guys do. Also, absolutely free, the like button on this program. Go ahead and hit that. It helps the algorithm and all that other great stuff. But to keep these great conversations going, as we usually know, we have a red banner flowing at the very bottom there. You guys want to keep these conversations going, the ways you can do it is Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order, however else. Hit the Cash App, hit my PayPal. One thing about Demetra, she did not lose her bank account. The bank didn't freeze her account. So if you guys want to hit that PayPal, you can hit the PayPal. I say it again, hit that PayPal. Anyway. I shouldn't be laughing at something like that, but the good things, it couldn't happen to a nicer guy, is all I gotta say. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Also, you guys, don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store, where you're all going to see videos that you're not going to see on the regular YouTube algorithm. So if you go to the African Diaspora, you get the Emancipation Channel, you get a couple more shows. Philip Scott is expanding that thing so much. So it's your opportunity to jump on, become a membership, subscribe, and you guys can do that. But the African diaspora, a lot of is happening in the African diaspora as these people, these immigrants are starting to get right. So again, to keep informed of what's going on around us, go download the African Diaspora News Channel app. Again, our closest neighbor, the Haitians. How many of you guys have heard of what's going on with the Haitians? 90% of Port-au-Prince is now controlled by the gangs, even though the Kenyan police force is down there. What is going on with our neighbors down south? So again, the African Diaspora News Channel app, you can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. And this subject here, I'm sure you guys all have an opinion on it. If you've seen it, I recently saw the video. Pretty gruesome what I saw, and I've got an opinion, and I'm going to give you guys basically what I saw. But again, you guys want to help this show, hit that PayPal app. If you want to help Dr. Mafuse Wakwabe and Queen Demetra, hit that Cash App. If you got a few dollars to spare, hit that Cash App.
You called that man everything but his name, okay? Makwase, whoever the hell. Oh my, Donovan crazy. I've seen the Umar video. I have no idea what happened. I've kind of seen some things. I was like, I ain't got the brain cells to even delve into that. But let's see who else is on here. Hello to everybody. Negroes, what's going on with you? Easy E in the building. What's going on by the time 103? Hope you're doing well. Sister Sunlight, Mike, nice. JJ, Danielle, how you doing? Beverly White, hope all is well still. Frank, All right, so let's go ahead and get into it for the sake of time. All right, Donovan, you know what? Before we get started, what happened? What is your opinion on what you saw, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, when I first saw it, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, without joking. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I thought it was the anniversary of the Memphis or the Alabama, the chair riot. That's what I thought it was. And like I said, we don't know exactly what was said, whatever. But I find it highly unlikely, in my opinion, in my experience, that Black people are just going to go out and open up the can of whoop ass.
So what was your opinion when you first saw it?
I was like,
when
oh,
you
shit.
first heard about it, because you just said something to me about the lady before we came on here.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, to knock that chick out like that. I mean, what man does that to a woman regardless of her background? I was really shocked by it. So it was kind of graphic for me. So
all right. So let's go ahead and get into it for the sake of time. Now, what had happened was, and nobody really knows what started it to this point. Okay, so nobody really knows, but it sounds like on July 26th in Cincinnati near 4th and Elm Street, there was a fight that broke out. Now, of course, when the footage first came out, and you saw Black people, right, pummeling white people, and a woman got knocked out, and these white dudes, they was getting stomped and all kind of stuff, right? So of course, them folks ran off the plug, talking about, oh my God, look at what they. So then, of course, we saw the real video, okay, the part that they left off, and it's like, oh, so that's what happened. Now, as of now, sounds like 5 suspects have been identified. I don't know if they've been charged, but I guess they're asking them to turn themselves in. I don't know if they have to this point. And yeah, so what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to show y'all a compilation of videos that I put together. It's a little over 4 minutes, but I think it's important because everybody and their mama have chimed in. J.D. Vance, you guys will hear from him, the Vice President of the United States, have chimed in, as he is from Ohio, right? He's a senator from Ohio. Harmeet Dillon, she is the Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice, appointed by that of Trump, I guess. She had something to say. So y'all ready? Here you go.
You seen the beatdown video from Cincinnati this morning? Pretty horrific. And it happens dozens of times every year in this country. And we turn a blind eye to it. If people understood, if they knew, and the FBI has the stats, how often that race makes the other race the victims, it'd be horrible for race relations if people actually understood it. Most violent crime stays within your race. But there is an exception in the United States of America. And nobody talks about it. And if the roles were reversed, look what happens, when a violent drug addict who robs pregnant women dies from a drug overdose while being held down by the police, he becomes a hero.
What I saw, and I haven't seen the full context, but what I saw is a mob of lawless thugs beating up on an innocent person, and it's disgusting. And I hope every single one of those people who engage in violence is prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And they will be. They will be so long as law enforcement in the state of Ohio takes their job seriously. I know Dave Yost cares a lot about these things. But yeah, I actually, you're right. Bernie did send me a clip of this, and we talked a little bit about it. I don't know the full context. I don't know how the fight started. But the one part that I saw that was really gruesome is you had a grown man who sucker punched a middle-aged woman. And where I come from, at least, when you have a grown man who sucker punches a middle-aged woman, that person ought to go to jail for a very long time. And frankly, he's lucky there weren't some better people around, because they would have handled it themselves. But if they're not going to handle it, the cops in Cincinnati, the law enforcement, you've got to prosecute people. We've had way too much lawlessness on the streets of great American cities. How many of you all have wanted to go to downtown Akron or downtown Canton or downtown Columbus for a meal, but you're worried because the local authorities in these big cities have allowed lawlessness to run wild? We have got to make great American cities safe again for families and children. If you want to take your wife or your children out for a meal, you shouldn't be worried about street violence, and the only way to destroy that street violence is to take the thugs who engage in that violence and throw their ass in prison.
As someone who was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, I felt obligated to make this video. When I saw that downtown brawl video making the rounds on social media, I knew right away the story's being told all wrong. They're calling the bald guy a victim, acting like he was just minding his business when he got jumped. But let's get something straight. He started it. The full video shows him slapping and swinging at people. That's what set it all off. Not a random attack, not a mob. He escalated it. And then we have domestic terrorists like J.D. Vance and Hermit Dilling jumping in, trying to spout their law and order propaganda. Yeah, the guy got stomped, and that's brutal, but he's not innocent. He literally put his hands on people first. And I always find it interesting, these same kind of people like to say FAFO or play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Except when the perpetrator is white. Because according to the media and domestic terrorist opportunists like J.D. Vance and Hermit Dilling, you're allowed to go up and cause fights and start trouble, and you're the victim now, as long as you're white. I mean, Hermit Dilling herself made it about race. When there is absolutely nothing from the videos or anything we know that says it's about race. All they seen was white person getting jumped. It must mean race. Don't let these domestic terrorists hijack and twist this story to fit a narrative.
Social media and journalism, and the role it plays in this incident. And yes, guys, that's you. That is you. Social media, the post that we've seen, does not depict the entire incident. That is one version of what occurred. At times, social media and mainstream media and their commentaries are a misrepresentation of the circumstances surrounding any given event. What that does, that causes us some difficulties in thoroughly investigating the activity and enforcing the law. Because what happens, that social media post and your coverage of it distorts the content of what actually happened. And it makes our job more difficult.
All right. So y'all saw a pretty good compilation there. And I there's so much out there, to be honest. I mean, even Elon Musk weighed in on it, of course, with the narrative that they saw. And y'all heard J.D. Vance say, well, the video that was sent to me. And of course, we know what video was sent to him. The one that showed, them folks getting the brunt end of it, but not showing them folks starting it, right? As the white guy said, he was like, we know what happened. The white guy started and I blurred it out because, we don't get in trouble here, but y'all can see it. It's all over social media, right? But yeah, the white guy was swinging and slapped, somebody in the black crowd. And of course, what the black crowd did. Of course, y'all can see all of that. I will say that it was very brutal in nature to watch. So I can see why somebody would be upset if they just saw that part of it. But given like the police chief said, her name is Teresa, is it G? I think that's how you say her last name. She was more or less like, that's not all the story. You guys aren't showing the full context. And like she said, it makes our job harder. Now, she did say everybody involved on either side will be held responsible to the fullest extent of the law, right? But she admonished people in social media, even the media, right? Now, let's get to the media. I looked, and of course, them folks, they're talking about it from the angle of, oh, black people are, terrorists. They're doing this to white people. Then I haven't seen too many of them at all talk about, okay, well, there's a little part left off. Now we know, of course, they never gonna make their people the aggressor, and it's for clicks and likes to say, oh, the big bad boogeyman, the black people are jumping on the white people. Of course, again, that's not what happened. Now, we really don't know, what started, but a lot of people saying there's a lot of alcohol going on. I think maybe there was a jazz festival or something going on in the air. So there's a lot going on. It happened at 3 a.m. The police is getting a little bit of flack, if you will, because it said they took a long time for them to get there. But they're saying only one person made a 911 call, and I guess they had a hard time trying to get in there or whatever the case is. But J.D. Vance, y'all notice how he used that Joe Biden trope. Oh, if you want your wife and children to be safe going downtown, and away from these thugs, right? So there's that argument that the Democrats are more friendly, than the Republicans, or vice versa. They all think the same way about black people because they use the word thug, But we know what they meant when they say thug. They mean black people, right? That's their safe word that they can say. And as the white gentleman said, that's their trope of law. You know, we need some law and order. We know all the time when they talk about law and order, they talking about black people. We need to get black people in check. Of course, he says that they need to go to prison. Well, I hope when he say they, that he includes that white man too. But see, to further the point, I'm gonna give it to Donovan. And you guys, there's a lot of comments in here, so I'm gonna start at the bottom. That way, you know, I can catch up. But of course, we know that, as I said, on August 5th, there was a brawl in Montgomery, Alabama, where a chair and all that, like 2 years ago, was used because white folks thought they was going to, you know, jump on the brother who was just asking them to move their boat and all of that. Well, you know, you saw what happened with that. Of course, we not consider that all Black American holiday. We gonna celebrate. Well, along with the Cincinnati Brawl, it's just really illustrating that we're not putting up with it no more. We don't care what your malfunction is, and why do you think you could put your hands on us and we ain't gonna do nothing? This ain't, you know, on the plantation nowhere in Jim Crow South, you know, in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s. Where, you know, that was all right for you to do. And I saw somebody talk about what happened in North Carolina. I am going to talk about that because that one got under my skin. But we're not there anymore. And they have not gotten the memo that we ain't putting up with it. So, yeah. Another thing, too, is you can't do something to somebody and then dictate how they respond. You're going to put your nasty hands on my face and I'm supposed to say, oh, well, don't do that again. You don't get to control what happens after that. So, yeah, you might get a foot to you. Woman might get put on the ground, but you know, you don't get the right to terms of what happens when you don't know how to control yourself or use emotional intelligence. Please and thank you.
Like I said, ditto. I just want to add ditto to everything that you said. It is a new day. Black people, Black Americans, we are tired. We are tired of putting everybody else ahead of us. We are tired of every time it is our turn to be served by these public servants, we are not being served because something else happened in the world that, oh, we can't give you reparations right now. We got to go do this. It's more important. Oh my gosh, Donald Trump's the boogeyman. Oh my gosh, Citizens United. Oh, you know, money in politics. Oh my gosh, we got to do something about that. Oh my gosh, we got to do something for LGBTQ. Oh my gosh, we got to worry about Roe versus Wade. We got to get that back. Women's rights. Black people, we are tired. Black people, we are tired. And what they understand and what they know is their numbers are low and we are not taking it anymore. Just like you see the Hispanic. Where are the Black people? The Africans. Oh, the Blacks, and the people talking down to us, disrespecting us. All of this. We are not our parents. We have not sold out the culture. We are not our parents. We are seeing the writing on the wall for our children. They can't even afford a home. We're tired. This is where we're at. I don't want to take up too much of your time because these comments are rolling. So let's let you guys speak on this.
Yes, and again, there's so many comments in here, so I'm gonna try my best. If I don't see all your comments, you guys must forgive me. It is not on purpose. And I just want to say, in regards to our parents weren't punks either. I need to say that because, you know, my daddy is a triple OG, even in 81 years old. He was triple OG, and he didn't put up with that. A lot of our parents didn't. They just were dealing with different times, right? They couldn't really be, you know, footloose and fancy free. They had to say a little, yes, they had to, right? So I just, you know, want to give them a little bit more credit. We are living in a different age, day and time. But again, we know that our parents came from the Black Panther movement, right? The Black Liberation Army and everything else you could think of. So I just, you know, kind of wanted to just pay homage to them. Let's see. Leon says they start, then play the victim. Yep. Let's see who else haven't I seen. And your average logical thinker, how you doing? Says Cincinnati Brawl. I haven't heard it. Oh yes, it's all over. You know them folks. Fresh Air, how you doing? Thank you so much. Linus, what's going on? It says some of those he says some of those kids are going to jail. Well, I don't know. They all need to go to jail on both sides. If that's somebody going to jail, everybody needs to go to jail, especially the one that instigated, the one that put his hands on people and thought, you know, stuff was sweet. You know, Tamara, how you doing? Let's see. Yes, easy. I saw it, but I had seen it before, and I'm going to talk about it this week, and in other places. But yeah, that definitely needs to be talked about. Let's see. So many of y'all on here. Oh, Mawali, how you doing? Says in the video where the big white guy is arguing with the black guy. If you listen very carefully, you can hear someone ask the big white guy if he was kicking the black guy's car. So yeah, there's so many other things out as to what happened. Sounds like they haven't really pinpointed it yet, but yeah. The white dude was not, little Bo Peep just running around and, people just jumped on him. That's not what happened. Michael, how you doing? Says, put ourselves ahead of everyone else. Works better. Pink Blue, what's going on? It says, stay on code. Yes, indeed. Corey, what's up? Laverne, how you doing? Says, and we pay more taxes without protection all day, every day. Yep. And Eddie says, black people, white people cannot be reasoned with. Just defend yourself. Yeah, you ain't gonna let nobody put their hands on you, right? OWU, how you doing? He says, what up, leaders? Let's see. Brandy, what's up? Patty Brown, hope you're doing well. Spider-Man, what's up? He says the black backlash is coming. Which backlash? Lucky me, how you doing? Says, yeah, my mom was crazy. I don't know what he's talking about. Leon says, punks jump up to get beat down. Yes, indeed. How you doing? Says black and brown coalition. Yeah, okay. Hub, he says, they kicked his ace like they were kicking for extra points of football. Yeah, someone say it was kind of brutal, but it's like I said, don't start none, won't be none. You can't tell me how to react to your disrespect. That's not how that works. Simo says, well said, Donovan, you said it. I felt it. Buckhorse, did I say hello to? If not, hello. Child of God says, boomers fumbled. No, not necessarily. I mean, we got to think of the context. We can't keep selling our ancestors and our parents' generation out like they were some punks, because they weren't no punks. They weren't. They were just dealing with different times.
Yeah, no, but what we're saying is, and what I'm saying is, the baby boomers are still in control. They're wrecking this country. So I know what you're saying in the aspect of that. We're not saying everybody, but the fact of the matter is, you got a 78-year-old president, Joe Biden, all of these people, they're wrecking this country because they're still in control. So you can't, well, at least I'm not going to give them a pass on that. They're still in control and they're wrecking this country.
Y'all know how I feel about that. It's not just the baby boomers that's wrecking this country, because our generation ain't no better. Okay, so we can't keep on blaming
but the baby. You gotta be in power. You gotta be in power.
Listen, I ain't no punk. Okay, so I'm not gonna absolve all my responsibilities on my daddy, who's a silent generation. My mom would have been, a baby boomer. At some point, we got to say, okay, it's on us. We don't need to wait for them to give us the ball to move the ball. If we got to create our own ball, then we do that. But continue to blame the baby boomers. Most of them, got one foot on the grave and one on a banana peel. Thunder, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. So that's going to be consequences and repercussions. Yeah, more than likely. 23 Archer, how you doing? And let's see. Oh gosh, there's so many comments on here. So let me do this. I'm just gonna pick out the questions.
Smoking. Yes, they're smoking.
I'm just gonna pick out the questions. If you have a specific question, I'm gonna read the questions, because I will be here forever trying to read all the comments, and that's a good thing. I appreciate every last one of you. I really do. Sanchez, how you doing? Del Monte Green Bean says, leave us alone. Eric David, she says, my grandparents weren't punks either. Double A, how you doing? Says, Fox was villainizing the black folks. Yeah, that's what they do, right? They know that they control the media, right? So regardless of what the truth is that the white guy started, they're going to continue on with their narrative, because what media do we own? What media do we own that we can have on 24 hours and putting the truth out there like, nah, that ain't what happened, right? That's another thing. Dr. Claude Anderson said we need to get us some media so we can control that and not be the bad end of the narratives that are being made about us.
Right. Isn't TV One black owned, or is that black owned through a black face?
I don't know if it still is. I know Kathy Hughes owned TV One, Radio One, and all that. I don't know if she still does, but she did for a very long time. I do not know. Let's see here. And hello again to everybody. I'm just taking the questions because there is so many of us in here today. Brother Sammy, how you doing? Says whites have a subconscious fear of black people remembering their evil and come against them. I feel that is why they try to keep us on animal level. They try to keep us tamed, as Hillary Clinton said, bring them to heel, right? Is what she said about the black youth. The more we come to our senses and wake up, the more we resist. Yeah, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, that's the talking points they're on. Black people ain't no good, and we need to bring them to heel them thugs, right? All right. So again, hello to everybody. I'm just taking the questions. Y'all must forgive me. On a perfect day, I will read everybody's comment, but I just can't do it. You guys have defeated me. And Laverne says, I'm 65 and I will throw hands. Come on now. Come on. I don't see any questions. I just see people making comments. Okay, so I got to the bottom. Fresh air. You say black YouTube, black Twitter, black Facebook. Yeah, where's that at? You know, and I'm not talking about like your Isaac Hayes III. He has a fan base, but he got a whole lot of other people, you know, on the boards and all this other stuff. So that's not black owned. I don't even think it calls it black owned anymore because people started calling them out. It ain't black owned. We need something that's black owned and operated by black people without the influence of everybody else. We need it completely black owned. Now, there's been plenty of people try to start a black owned social media, whatever the case is, but we just like, you know, Facebook and Instagram and all that's crack. It's crack to us. I just can't leave it alone. But at some point in time, we're going to have to get on that page, right? And control our own media so that we can control our own narratives, right? Sean, he says, Big Mama was a part of the silent generation. They're all dead and gone. Well, my dad is part of the silent generation. On the tail end, he's still here. He's still here.
Maxine Waters is part of the silent generation.
And hits 23, he says, we need a catchy name for grassroots. Well, throw it in there. Mad Dog, how you doing? Says, I'm so proud of our brothers and sisters standing on business. Yes, indeed. Paul, how you doing? Says, sanctuary cities getting ice. And you know what? What happened? We don't hear about the protests and stuff like we were. Did they go away? What's going on? You know, is Trump and Tom Homan still out there on the, you know, on the run?
No, they're still going on in the major cities. It's just the fact that, unfortunately, we're the ones that make it rock. Like I said, when these other groups, that's why they keep crying for us, because their protests are very ineffective. You can't be effective in another country waving a foreign flag. Now they're starting to half the flags, showing their Mexican pride or their Latin pride, and then an American flag. But it's just ineffective. They don't know. They don't make it move and shake like black people do. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, so these people up here talking about their mamas, Arthur says mama 87, and she would throw hands, okay? Something right, some hot grease or something. What you talking about? Margot, Tina, how you doing? Says Kathy sellout son runs everything. Yeah, and I heard there was some issues with her son. I don't know which one it was, you know, with some allegations of some things he shouldn't have been doing. Sherry, how you doing? Says they want us to come outside so bad to get into this mess that's going on, but we're not going for it at all. Totally. Yes, Ronald says the yoke is off our necks. Yeah, we just like, what do we have to lose at this point? We've been through everything that a human can go through, and we're still here. So what that's what happens when you do something repeatedly horrible to a person. After a while, it's like, what else can you do to me? It's like you whoop a child's butt all the time, right? You whoop them, and they don't change. You keep whooping them. The child is like, I'm going to get a whooping and I'm going to be right back outside. You know, the whooping is temporary. You got to, like, you know, do something else. Otherwise, people get desensitized. They're like, what else have you done to me that you haven't already done? All right. So I'm just looking for questions at this point because there's so many in here, and I do appreciate every last one of y'all. Albie Chill, how you doing? Says there's a black-owned streaming service called Jarago. Never heard of it. I have never heard of it. Pro-black, how you doing? Says we ain't silent and we ain't complying. There you go. Maxwell, how you doing? Long time no see. Allie, what's going on? Says hi, Dimitri and Donovan. Know that the term African American is dead. Why? What are we using? FBA Freeman or Black American? I use Black American. That's the term that I go by. Like you said, term African American is something that we use for a very long time. I think Jesse Jackson came up with it or somebody did, and we use it. But you know now. Black, for me, I can't tell anybody else to do. I use Black American. I like that term. I've always referred to myself as Black, so I personally like Black American.
And I would say that would be the correct term, because you're using it as an adjective to describe something incidental about yourself. When we say white man, do we say, oh, that's a German American? Do we say that's an Italian American? Do we say that's a British American? No, we just say white, because it's something incidental. They have similar skin, whatever the deal is. So the same thing, when they're here, they're Americans. We are Black Americans. Now, do we all come from the same tribe? Do we all originate from the same area? No, we don't, but we do have similar skin. So I think it is the correct adjective to use.
Absolutely. And I'm at the bottom, y'all. So if y'all have a question, I will take the questions. But I do see all you guys' comments. And Gabriel, how you doing? So Demetri, I love your idea of calling our voice the poor righteous teachers. I mean, that's what a lot of us are. I'm not rich from doing this. There's a lot of people who are rich, right? And I'm not saying they're grifting and they're not, but they're making a lot of money. But poor righteous teachers, they're interested in just giving the knowledge and the information to wake our people up, right? 5%ers, right? Well, we're interested, that because I consider myself a 5%er, and waking people up. I'm not grifting. And I always tell people, I say, ooh, man, if I really wanted to be grifting and being shady, and I would be wealthy, I would be on a house on a hill somewhere talking about you Negroes. You know what I'm saying?
Just stand up, Demetri. Just stand up, Demetri. And I say again, just stand up, Demetri, and turn around. Turn around, Demetri, my sister.
No. But I'm just saying, that's where we have to be, unfortunately. We have to be interested in really trying to wake our people up, because you love our people, right?
Resurrectors. Another word is resurrectors.
Yeah, resurrectors. Let's see here. Okay, I'm looking at the questions. Where'd it go? Ron Key Station, I hope I said that right, says, what happened in North Carolina? Well, it was a black man, it was a truck driver who was delivering a load somewhere to a landfill, somewhere like that. And them good old boys pretty much terrorized him for the time that he was there. Now, basically, and I'll probably talk about it tomorrow on tomorrow's show, but basically, they terrorized him, harmed his dog, threatened to take his life. They accused him of stealing a cell phone, which he did not do. They even tipped his trailer over to using 2 bulldozers to do it. One guy said, one of them good old boys said he was a sheriff and you better get out of here. And then another one said, before something happened to you, he caught it all on video. And this happened in June and it's just not getting out. He says, I don't know what to do, So people are now getting wind of it. It's like, oh, hell no. They know the name of the company and everything escapes my mind right now. But yeah, it's really, it's messed up. You know what I mean? I felt sorry for that man, because he kept saying, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As they were, and in his mind, you only know he thought, this is my last day on earth. These good old boys are going to take my life. Now, of course, you have people saying, well, I wouldn't be saying yes, sir. Stop saying yes, sir. And that's why I said, shut up. Sometimes people need to shut up. Always talk about what I would do if I was, you ain't gonna do nothing but bow down and say yes, sir, if you was in that situation. What are you supposed to do? Say, you don't be talking to me like that. And he by himself with all those good old boys. What he's supposed to do? He saved his life is what he did. You got all these Monday morning quarterbacks. Oh, well, stop saying yes, sir. And why you? Nah, he saved his life because he knew what he was working with. And those good old boys was waiting for him to not comply. Not that they were officers or nothing, but they were waiting. And ain't no telling all that. They were in a landfill. Ain't no telling. And I thought, well, how many other people in that landfill? Because only know they was looking to bury him there. So we got to think twice before we talk about, well, what I would do. And you ain't going to do nothing but shut your mouth. That's what you're going to do. Let's see here. So we're going to get further into that. But that story, pissed me off, for lack of better words. And hello to everybody. I'm just looking for questions because there's so many of us in here right now. I'm just looking for your questions. Easy says they really wanted to push him out of here. It's very graphic. Yeah, it made me really, really mad. And I tell you, I was mad. I didn't, like, for me, I didn't even want to see it again. And there's nothing not really showing anything. It's just the energy. The energy is so clansy, if you will, like the Klan. The way they were talking to him. You shut your mouth. You don't say nothing. Get in the car. You don't say nothing. You know, and one of those, and I'm be nice, good old boys closed his door and his little puppy was in the way. And you can hear the dog crying, and the brother opened the door and said, hey, you smashed my puppy. I don't care about you and your dog. And it's crazy, right? So they need to be held accountable. Mr. Freeze said he was saying too many yes sirs. Well, what was he supposed to say? I'll be your Huckleberry. He was outnumbered, and they brandished weapons. What was he supposed to say? He saved his life. That's what he was supposed to do, is save his life. See, like I said, some of y'all, it's easy when you thumb thugging, and I'm not saying this about you necessarily, but it's easy when you thumb thugging or what I ain't gonna do. But when you get in a situation, see, you're supposed to use wisdom. You ain't supposed to say, I'm a man, and you're gonna be a man that's buried in the landfill. And that don't take away from you being a man, saving your life, but you're supposed to use wisdom. Because clearly, those dudes did not care. They felt like they had the upper hand, and we gonna do and say whatever we want to just do and say to you. We subjugate you at this moment. Now the joke is on them, because their names and everything is out there. So, you know, like I said, I don't think this is the first time they did that to somebody. That man was working. He wasn't somewhere he wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, you know, and I'm glad you brought that up, because it's the same thing in the military. When I was in combat in the military, you saw so many of these young people that act like they're playing Call of Duty or something. And there's so many people that got killed unnecessarily because they thought they were playing Call of Duty. This is real life. This is what's really going on. And it's just like the movie Friday. I'm not saying, you know, like I said, we don't know what a person would do given the situation, but you're supposed to live to fight another day. There's very many ways you can fight a battle. And I tell people to teach your children how to play chess, because chess has life applications. The whole point of chess, and it's not checkers. Checkers, you don't have to think. You just do, and nobody cares. But in chess, every move you have to think before you make that move. Backwards, forwards, left, right, all of it before you make a move. Because if you make the wrong move, it's fatal.
Absolutely. And hey, Thunder, he says, I came in late. Can I get an instant replay of possible blow by blow? Well, it's hard to give a blow by blow because I played a video in it, but basically there was a brawl in Cincinnati, and them folks, you know, tried to play victim. Everybody and their mama, politicians, everything, talking about how horrible it was that them folks got jumped on, but they neglected to say that them folks is the one that started it. And so basically it's like a Montgomery, Alabama brawl part 2 in Cincinnati. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what happened. I see another question. Kieran, how you doing? He says, Demetri K, what are your thoughts on Caucasians getting a hate crime bill after this? I heard that there is a rumor for it, but I don't know if it's true or not. They got a hate crime bill. It's called the Constitution. All of it. All of it sans the 13th and 14th Amendment, and 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment. All of the Constitution is their hate crime bill because it benefits them and them only. It does not benefit us, right? So they got a hate crime bill. You even look at one wrong in some places, you could go to jail, or they might be able to call their homies and say, yeah, we know where they live, string them up.
Yeah, and I want to add to that. If you want to talk about the ultimate hate crime bill, 98 felony cases, and he didn't get convicted for one. That's called the anti-hate crime bill. Look at the white crime that goes on in the United States. How many white CEOs and white people get convicted in regards to white collar crimes? Very rare compared to other groups. When it comes to basic crime, just in general, you look at the numbers of white people that are convicted, even though they are the majority people in the United States. What's the prison rate of white people in jail compared to black and other groups? It's very low.
Al, how you doing? Says, why is there always a kerfuffle when that's a dust up, see. When black people
always trying to throw the words in there.
When black people don't agree, black people religious and political beliefs. So why is there people disagree? That's just kind of the way it is, right? Burma, how you doing? So yeah, it's so easy for people just to talk about what they will and will not do, you know. Sounds good, right? I saw another question. Let's see. Yeah, Easy says they tipped his truck over and trailer with a bulldozer while he was in it. Is that attempted murking? Yeah, and you know, and it sounded like it was a white guy who recorded it from a different vantage point, and they was like, "Oh, you get in your truck and you videoing," and he was like trying to play it off, like what? But yeah, so he caught it from another point of view to back up what the brother was saying and how they was going after him. But he was like, the other guy that was recording was like, "Yeah, that ain't right. What are y'all doing?" And you can see the bulldozers under his trailer, and it's tipped over. So yeah, they terrorized this man. And in fact, it sounded like he got there like a little bit early, and then they were mad, and then they made him go all the way to the back of the line and wait. So when it was his turn again, they continued to mess with him, and that's when his dog got hurt. They tipped over his trailer and accused him of stealing the phone, which he did not do, right? Just all of that terror, racial terror is what they did to that black man.
Yeah, let me read this comics. I think it's very important. Force of Nature 77. He says, "Rest in peace, unseasoned chicken regime."
That part, okay. Brother Simon says, "Have you watched the older movie Brother Future?" For those people who, what would I do? Okay, so he's saying for people saying what they would do, watch that movie. I've never seen it, Brother Future. I have to check it out. I started watching 1984 on YouTube last night, and in the first 2 minutes, I was like, it's just because I can't watch TV and go to sleep. I have to sit up and watch TV.
The book is always better than the movies.
Yeah, I actually tried to get the book, but I don't know. I couldn't find it on Amazon when I tried to get it. I think that's what happened. And I'm looking for all the questions, y'all, but I do see everybody. Hello. Okay, so here is one. Dorian says, "Why black people have a hard time delineating from white people? They want to delineate from Africans when we're Africans too, because we are taught to love white people. We are taught to worship them, to bow down to them, to feel sorry for them when they don't feel sorry for ourselves. And we are taught that as close as you could get to white people, the better you would be, right? The more righteous you would be. Even those, y'all go to church, in the Bible, it says when you go to heaven, you'll be what? Washed white as snow. So that ideology has permeated and been inculcated into us from the plantation that, hey, white is right. That's where it's at. So if you could come close to that, then you'll be okay. Which is why you have people who passed back in the day, because they didn't want to be black, because they knew white. And I'm not saying this, but that's what they were taught, that white was all right. So yeah.
And then it's really collocated in the colonial countries. They have the same exact thing. So when I hear African talking about why does black people want to delineate all the time? Well, we don't want to delineate. We're delineating now because we see that you guys come to this country, that we allowed you and sacrificed for you to come to this country, when we were saying, come and join us. And, because we knew our numbers were low back in the day, that if we were all together and we fight this together, our numbers become great, right? But no, you guys went and formed little Haiti. You guys went and formed little Havana, little this, little that, whatever. And so, whenever I hear African, I'm not like blaming anybody out there, but whenever I hear an immigrant talk about why Black Americans are delineating, you guys started delineating first. So here we are. This is it.
Yeah. And, for me personally, I think everybody, obviously everybody has disrespected Black Americans, but me personally, I'm not, and I said this last week, so for anybody who hasn't heard me say this, I'm not interested in going to war with no Africans, okay? If we're going to go to war with somebody, it need to be the people who's really doing the oppressing, okay? They coming over here, they being African brothers and sisters from the continent bumping their guns because they've learned from white people that Black people ain't this, that, and the other, but Africans ain't controlling Black people. Okay, if you want to talk about moving somebody out of the way, as far as we're concerned, you got the Arabs, the Asians, the Hispanics, you got white, and everybody else in between set up in our neighborhoods, and they eat greedy off of Black people. I don't know how much Africans are eating greedy off of Black Americans, because how many African businesses are there really opposed to all the other ones? So that's just kind of how I feel about it. D.O., you said, Demetri, did you hear about how they tried to lynch that guy who was making gasoline out of plastic? White people really out there trying to kill us because we are smarter than them. I have heard.
Isn't that guy missing?
Not missing. His mom, for what his mom says, he's not missing. He's just laying low, because that was the concern, that something happened to him. But she is saying, from what is being reported, he is actually not missing, but he's concerned. Yes, he's trying to make gasoline out of plastic where it can be free. Of course, they don't want nobody doing nothing like that, right? So I'm actually going to cover that in one of my stories. But yes, Let's see. GH, how you doing? Says, notice how no one of the news outlets are showing the full unedited video. If you touch somebody or their property, you don't get to determine their reaction, period. But you're right. They're doing that because they can do that, right? They own and control the media, so they can put whatever narrative that they want out there, which is why, a lot of people like our African, I'll say my African brothers and sisters, because I know some of y'all take exception to that, which is why they'll watch the news from where they're at and they be like, oh, Black Americans are horrible people. Because every time you turn on the news, depending on what news it is, and that's pretty much all of them, they saying something bad about Black Americans, right? So everybody has these narratives that Black Americans are the boogeyman, and then they get over here and find out, oh, the real boogeyman is the people who told you who the boogeyman was, right? Speaking of, let's see here. Bernard, how you doing? Says, why did the Blacks viciously attack those innocent people where those people weren't innocent and they got what they came for? Don't, as they say, FAFO, don't come for none if you really don't want none, okay? Now, I see who you are, and I know your people don't like a lot of seasoning, and that's what they got on that night, was a lot of seasoning. Rearrange their whole understanding of life, and hopefully they'll never, ever eat that much seasoning again. Hey, Brother Damon, did I say hello to you? Okay, I'm just looking at all the questions. All right, I ain't gonna keep on entertaining foolishness. Let's see here. Hello to everybody again. OWU says, do you think blaming those in the past is not suggesting solutions? He said, do you think blaming those in the past is not suggesting solutions? I'm not quite sure what that means. I kind of understand, but then I don't. So I don't want to speculate. Oh, God. I'm just reading some of these comments, looking for the questions, y'all, because there's a lot of us on here. We got about 14 minutes left. Hello, Avenged Ancestors. Yes, indeed. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah,
all right.
Lion, Jesus.
It is. And I'm sweating. Barzilla, how you doing? Says, what are people complaining about? A Black man saying yes, sir, to a bunch of them folks. I didn't hear about that one. Yes. Oh, yes. You can look it up. Put North Carolina black truck driver or something like that, and you'll see it all. But yeah, he was, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. All right. He says, he kept saying, leave me alone. Leave me alone. You can hear it makes me so sad. It does. Because you can hear the fear in his voice. Don't no grown man want to have to do all of that. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, leave me alone. He kept backing away. He just got out of his truck, right? Trying to dump his load. And they came at him. Only thing was missing in that equation was white robes and hoods. That was the only thing that was missing. So for when I hear people try to chastise that brother, that hurts my heart. It really does, because that man saw it. I'm sure he saw his life flash before his eyes, and people are picking on him. He's the victim. He gets to decide how he's going to survive in that moment. Nobody else gets to decide that for him. He gets to decide that.
King Norris has arrived, and he has a comment. Could you read the comment there?
Let's see.
What's the bottom?
Okay, let's see. I just want to make sure. Hey, Mr. Norris, I just want to make sure I don't miss any. I have heard about absolute power. Yes, I'm just looking at some of the questions. Caitlin, how you doing? Said, this reminds me of Andy Stone's murder. Did the white truck driver get investigated? The story went silent. Yeah, I heard about that. Not sure what all happened with the Queen of Dia. How you doing? I'm going down there. I'm just looking in. I just see some repeat questions. I'm getting to the bottom. Just trying to find Mr. Norris. Albie Chill, you says, do you remember hearing about the secret jails in Chicago that were disappearing people in? I did not hear about that. So many stories. Just reading some of these comments. Donovan, you put something in the private chat. I have to look and see. Hey, Brother Reggie, how you doing?
That was just Norris's comment. He's at the bottom.
Okay, I got you. I'm just looking to see. Hold on a second. I just need to block this person. Okay, he gone. If y'all didn't already get him, I got him. He was getting on my nerves. Seeing his question over and over again. Because I asked everybody, Brandon, how you doing? Says, them people who are not Black Americans sold us out. I have to deal with them. That's like me dealing with Anglo-Saxon. It's really not. It's not comparable. You dealing with Africans from the continent and dealing with white people. Come on now. Listen, I love every last one of y'all, even though I've not met most of y'all, but we got to use some common sense. How do you compare Africans to white people? How do you do that? Tell me one thing that Africans have done to you that's comparable to what white folks have done to Black Americans. I'm gonna look for your comment. Hey, Brother Critical, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I know it took me a long time to get to some of these comments down here, but I apologize. I just see everybody, but I can't respond to everybody. I'm getting down to the question. There we go. Is this the one that says, Demetri, what do you think about the young Black man in Florida who got punched through his window by the cops? I think he could get himself killed. My friend thinks the Black man was right. I don't. He was wrong. I saw it. And I meant to talk about it last week, but there's so much stuff going on. He was wrong. I forget his name, but basically what happened was he put out the video first of police officers punching his window out and then taking him out and punching him in the nose. But then from the body cam, you see, I think they said it was like a 21-minute ordeal, because I was wondering, why are there so many cops there for headlights, right? Because the allegation was he didn't have the headlights on. Well, he was asked to get out of the car. Sounds like maybe he had a warrant, and some other stuff was going on. He was asked to get out of the car, and in the body cam, you see all this. And as the officer approached the car, he tells the officer no and slams the door closed. And then from that point, they got him out the car. But like you said, Mr. Norris, he could get himself harmed. And we know that this happened in Jacksonville, Florida, that often cops are very pew happy, right? So it could have been worse for him. And that kind of makes me mad, because there's a lot of Black people who didn't even get none of that. And they're no longer here. But I'm not getting out the car, no.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, when this was adjudicated, he pled guilty to, I believe, cannabis. He had over a limit of cannabis. I don't know why people are driving around in the car with cannabis, but cannabis, obstruction without violence on a police officer, and he had his registration and his driver license, something like that, was expired. So that's why he didn't want to get out of the car, because he had a expired registration or something like that. I mean, just the stupidest thing.
Yeah, he just needs to learn, better. Take that butt whooping. If you got weed in your car, you wasn't supposed to have it, take the butt whooping, because that's the least of what could have happened to him, And Vader, how you doing? He says, too many Blacks will not support Black-owned anything. There's lies. There lies the biggest issue facing Black anything. I totally agree with you. We want to fight with everybody else, but then we won't get together with our own selves, right? Why is it that we have $2 trillion, give or take, and we give 97% of that away to everybody else? Nobody's making us do that. Nobody, right? And as I said, we want to fight with that. And y'all want to boycott. I'm not telling you not to do it. I don't have the ability to tell people not to do it, but whatever the result is of this boycott, that also needs to be spread out to the people who are really setting up in the neighborhoods doing Black folks dirty.
Yeah, Odd Negro's official says he asked for a supervisor. His windows weren't working, so that's why he closed the door. Plus, he's only 22 years old. We get that. Are you guys aware that they don't have to provide a supervisor to you guys during a traffic stop? They don't have to do that. Just like they don't have to Mirandarize you. They just don't have to ask you any questions. See, that's what I'm saying. And the lead attorney talked about this, and a few attorneys have been talking about this. And I know we watch TV and we see these things, but there is no law that says when you ask for a supervisor, one has to be provided to you. You might get one once you're incarcerated, but at the exact thing, they don't have to do that. I mean, I know we think that we can do, and I've seen so many videos of women that think, oh, you can't arrest me because I'm a woman. I need a female police officer. Where are we coming up with this stuff? If you've done a crime, the police officer is empowered to do whatever his power allows him to do. When you take a driver's license, you have agreed with the state, because it's a privilege, it's not a right, to surrender that license to a police officer when requested. So you don't even have to do a crime. If a police officer comes up to you and you're in your car, he just wants to see your license, you have to give him your license. That's just how it works.
Yeah, and I saw someone ask about a Black Wall Street. Will we ever see one again? I hope we ever see one again. You know what? The other day I got sad. What did Flip Wilson say on was it Uptown Saturday night? I think it was Uptown. He says, the other day I got a little down. And I almost got a bottle. I did. It hit me last week. I was like, man, I'm 54 years old. And it was a time where I was like, I hope it comes a day when my mom and dad see reparations. Then I thought, I hope there comes a time if I see reparations or Black unity or, Black Wall Street in my lifetime. And I got sad because I'm like, damn, I really have to think that. So I hope that we do. Fresh Air says, any thoughts on tangible solutions, respectively? Yeah, we got to focus on us. We've been given the blueprint. We've been given the blueprint by Marcus Garvey, and I know that's a touchy subject with some of y'all, but Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Dr. Claude Anderson, even Ice Cube gave us a blueprint. Like, we got all these blueprints. It's like, which one will we follow, right? It's all the same. Up, you mighty nation, accomplish what you will, do for self, practice group economics, right? That is that simple. But we focus on everything else that keeps us distracted. Because all the people that we are delineating from, and this is where people going to, get a little tender, and I don't mean for you. Everybody else we're delineating from, they got their stuff more together than we do. Do they not? Now, to what degree is it better? I don't know. But it's a lot better in a lot of cases. See, but we focus on us, keeping the money here, right? And building business and all the stuff we've been asked to do, then that's the solution. And I know you're not asking because you think there's a magic solution. It's not. We just got to do it, right? Because we got to get to a point where we say, I don't care what anybody else is doing, because they don't care what we're doing other than trying to, appropriate and be vultures and all that other stuff. But we got to get to the point to where we start getting down to business. I think. All right, so let's see who else. Ooh, we got 5 more minutes. I'm looking for the questions, and I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. I do apologize. Normally, I'm able to read everybody's comment at least once, but I'm so sorry. Brandon says, so do you think the Anglo-Saxons came to Africa to enslave, or they seen the enslavement and use it to gain wealth? I think it was both. But it wasn't there. But I would say, from what I understand, it was both. Let's see. Getting down to the bottom. What? You know what, Sean Jones, you wildin', and doggone well I ain't finna answer that question. What? Not gonna do it. Hey, Hannah, how you doing? All the way from South Africa. I have been there, and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Our Nicholas Fisher says he asked for a supervisor because he felt the stop wasn't legal. He was exercising his right. Even Crump said so. Again, a police officer is not a judge. If you have a problem with the ticket, an arrest or a stop is not the time to argue with the police officer. You do that in court. That's why they write you the ticket. So I'm not saying you're wrong in whatever your rights you think this cop is violating, it's not going to be solved at that particular time. It's not.
Aaron, you say, are you seriously cheering this? I don't know if necessarily if it's cheering. It's just really a reminder to leave Black people alone. This ain't the days of your great-great-granddaddies where you just run up on a Black person in the middle of the town square and, do something to them. And they say, well, yes, them ain't them times no more. Now, I don't know what y'all been taught, or, if that's who you are. I don't know what y'all been taught, but don't do that no more, okay? Do not do that no more, ever. That's all I'm saying. All right, just looking for the questions. I see you guys' comments. I do apologize. I really feel bad that I cannot get to everybody's comment. I'd love to.
Yeah, and trust me, you guys, all your comments are valid. That's why we have these great discussions and stuff. And I learned from you guys learn from me. Our Negro official says at Donovan, at 22 years old, did you know that? Yes, I did. You want to know why I knew that? Because I took law in college. I'm just saying me. I can't speak for anybody else. I'm saying I knew that. I was always told a police officer is one of the lowest levels of the legal justice system. So arguing with the police officer, whatever, it's not going to make my situation any better. It's not. And as we know, as Black people in America, they're going to lie on us and this and that, and it's just going to get worse and worse and worse. So again, that's how I would deal with the situation. I can't tell anybody else how they would, but I'm just telling you, a police officer, how the hell does a police officer know law and they went to the academy for 6 months? So you mean to tell me this police officer, as we've seen over and over again, have made countless mistakes that we, the taxpayer, have to pay for? This is what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. A police officer does not know law other than arrest. That's all they're really taught in the academies. That's why you go to court. You figure it out in court.
Yeah, and it's often said that police officers are judge, jury, and executioner. So, try to minimize the situation on your behalf as much as possible. We know there's some out there don't care what it is. They going to take your life. That's what they're hell-bent on. Walter, how you doing? Says, exhausted trying to help my people do for self. Well, maybe you can help us do that tomorrow, as Walter will be on here tomorrow. So he's saying,
all money in. What's Walter's favorite saying? The money, all money good?
Walter got a lot of sayings about money, okay? A lot. Easy says, D, can we buy an extra hour from you to stay on? What you talking? I don't know about an extra hour. From this point, I can do another about 10, maybe 15 minutes. Because y'all know I'll be on here 5 times a week. But I give y'all a couple of more minutes. Why not? Let's see. And I'm just looking at the questions right now because there's so many of you guys on here. And I do love and appreciate every last one. Sherry says, we have so many people posing as Black Americans standing in the way, like the Black Caucus. They should have it together in their own country through our government, though our government helps them. Yeah, but see, before we were falling in line with that, people of color, what do they call us? What's the word that they it just slipped my mind. Minorities. They call us minorities, right? And so we're minorities. Yeah. You know, the minorities, we're marginalized. And then when Dr. Klein Anderson was like, stop calling yourselves minorities. Because everybody that's marginalized, that basically is not white, right? And a white man, if you're not a white man, you're marginalized. Even they consider white women to be marginalized, which is why we see, especially with the affirmative action, that white women benefited from it the most, right? Because they're considered a minority. So, you know, we have to get away from that and really call it what it is, right? Who we are. So yeah, let's see. I'm just looking for all the questions. Spider-Man says about delineating. Does everyone else do that? Yeah, they do. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but I'm saying we're having listen, delineation is not a new topic. I know it's new to a lot of us, if you will. It's not new. We've been asked to do that a long time. Marcus Garvey, I know he was talking about delineating from white supremacy, right? Black people all over the diaspora. Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it. He says, yeah, we, love our brothers and sisters on the continent, but Black Americans, and I'm paraphrasing, we have to really get ourselves together first, right? Then we can kind of think about everything else. So delineation is not new. And I hate that people really think it is. Now it's a conversation now, like more so than ever. But we've been asked to separate. Nation of Islam says separation or death. So separation has been something we've been asked to do for a long time. But we pretended we brand new. Like, I ain't never heard of that before. So it's nothing new. Sunlight says, how does a traffic infraction warrant leaving your car? It doesn't. But if you have a warrant and they ask you to get out, a warrant, a warrant means that you're wanted, right? You're wanted for something. Maybe they show up to court or you did something, so they want you, right? So I think in that case, get out. Because it could have been a lot worse for that young man. I really felt sorry for him, getting punched in his face. But like, come on, man. At what point do you say, let me get out, I'm gonna call my mama and them, and all this other stuff, and they could, do what they need to do. But like I said, it's a hard case to sell when there's so many other people who didn't even get to do any of that, and they're no longer here. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and again, if you guys remember, driving is a privilege. It's not a right. When you have a driver's license, go back and read the bylaws of the driver's license that you signed for. If that officer stops you, you must present on his command your license and registration and all the other stuff. If he has suspicion, probable cause that you have weed or drugs in the car, he can ask you to get out of the car, and you are supposed to comply with that. You don't have it's not the same as your house. He doesn't need a warrant to search your car. He doesn't need that because it's a privilege. It's not a right. Go back and read the bylaws of your driver's license restrictions.
Vanessa, thank you so much for that. I love and appreciate you. He says, why are we so divided as a group? Because that's just something we were taught from the plantation. And at one point in time, we got it right, during the Black Wall Street and all the other Black towns we made. But then, of course, some people didn't like that. They couldn't leave us alone. But it's just something that we've been taught to be divided, to go against one another for whatever reason. And we just have to unlearn that. It's something we have to unlearn, and we have to keep speaking to that every chance we get. When we hear somebody, trying to be divisive, we need to say, hey, knock it off. Because at the end of the day, we got. Brother Reddy says, yay, 15 minutes. Now it's probably like 5, right? But I do appreciate that y'all, want us to stay on a little bit longer. That does make us feel good.
Yeah, and real quick, Amigos Fisher says, the question is, was this the legal stop? Now, remember, this video is old. They did go to court. The judge ruled it was a legal stop. So if you go back and read on the story, it was ruled a legal stop by the judge. And that is where it gets adjudicated.
Enlighten, he says, who can hurt us the most? The ones that are in political position where decisions are made, or those that do not do business with us? Obviously the front part of that question is more, but the other part could hurt us as much as well if they don't do business with us, but we do business with them, because we giving them something they're not going to give us, right? But the politicians do, the lawmakers, right?
Yeah, real quick, me and Odd Negro's official, we're having a great conversation here. She says the police can't make shit up. Go back and read the, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, or maybe even farther back than that. The Supreme Court ruled police can technically lie on you to coerce a confession. I think, I don't quote me on it. I know that they gave the police the power to lie, to make you, confess in a confession or something like that. So yes, the police can make stuff up to get to a point. It was adjudicated in the Supreme Court. I'll look it up if you need me to look it up.
Blazing Phoenix, he says, what do you think about some of us wanting to live on the continent of Africa? I don't have a problem with it at all. My thing is, where you gonna go when everything goes so bad here, right? There's a lot of people who are burning bridges, where are you gonna go? I would love to go and live on the continent. I've been over there. It's a beautiful place to be. I don't have a problem with it at all, but I don't have a problem with anybody wanting to do that. See, that's the problem. We got to get rid of this group think to where it's so negative to us. Like, well, I don't want to go live in Africa because, some people are going to get mad. No. If you want to live in Africa, then you shall do that. And Dimpleface, you're right. He says, so what the hell did Philando Castile do wrong? Nothing. And that's who I was talking about. People like Philando Castile didn't do anything wrong, So what I'm saying is, with that, I don't think the young brother should have been punched in his face. But I think at some point in time, if you got a warrant, just get out and see what it's about, right? Get out. If you had a little weed in your car, you wasn't supposed to do it, just deal with that, because they're going to get in the car eventually, right? Eventually, they're going to get in the car. They're not going to say, well, since you don't open up the car, just going about your merry way. They're going to get in the car. I'm just saying, minimize it as much as you can, because it's not fair to people who didn't do anything, like your Philando Castile. And he was a passenger in the car, and the guy didn't even interact with him more than 10 seconds, give or take, and his life was taken from him. So, I'm not one to make excuses for police officers, but I'm one to say, hey, if they tell you got a warrant, get out the car. Get out the car and deal with it, And it doesn't sound like the warrant was all that anyway,
Right. Yeah, and I agree with you on that. But the thing is, if you got a warrant or not. Come on now, you guys, come on. Odd Negro's official. Sometimes it's the bench warrant after the fact, right? But the Supreme Court case was Frazier versus Cup, where it says a police in regards to interrogations can lie on you. So when a police stops you and they start asking you questions, because even Sunlight said this, because I argue with police all the time. The minute a cop comes up to you and starts talking to you, they're investigating you. That's why they're asking, hey, what are you doing here? What time did you get here? Hey, how you doing today? That's an investigation, because they're trying to find out information on you. So yes, the Supreme Court ruled Frazier versus Cup. And I Googled that just now.
Yeah, Brother Reddy says his window on the other side of the car was working. I saw that full video, and the window was cracked. He could have talked to the first officer through it. Got to stop rewarding bad behavior. Yeah, I mean, from what I saw on both vantage points, I think it was avoidable. I don't think they should have punched him in his face and all that once he got out of the car. But I always just kind of see police officers on 1,000 anyway, right? They already on one. So for me, if they tell me I had a warrant or a suspended license, whatever it is, just get out of the car, just deal with it. Like I said, doesn't sound like he had a warrant for, 187 or nothing like that. Sounds like it was something small. So Yeah.
Damien Reeves says Miss K has a warrant for being beautiful.
Catch me if you can, boo-boo. Catch me if you can. I am a fugitive of love. I appreciate that. I don't see the comment, but thank you. I'm just looking for more questions. As I do see everybody's comments, I just want to make sure I see the questions. Just looking.
Yeah, I like Mad Dog Jack says Sandra Bland didn't have a warrant neither. You know, she was outright murdered. Yeah, she was outright murdered. Yeah.
Yeah, and I listen. Nobody dislikes the police more than I. Okay, for a whole host of reasons. As I said, my daddy is 81 years old, and it's not that long ago that one of them was messing with him. Okay, just messing with my father for no reason at all. I'm not making excuses for the police at all. What I want to do is see less and less of us harmed by them, because as I said, they are often considered to be judge, jury, and executioner. They decide your fate right there on the side of the road when it's not their job to do that, because we live in a system, no matter who is in office, whether it's Republican or Democrat, that is going to give them a pass to do what they're doing to you as a black person in America. And I don't want to hear about Trump because Obama gave them a blue alert. Okay, so
wasn't Biden supposed to give us the commission on policing and stuff like that to deal with their qualified immunity?
It's a George Floyd Justice and Policing law. It passed the House, but it didn't really go anywhere. It's bull caca is what it was. But the point that I'm making is, you know, let's do all that we can. I know it's, you know, I know it's heart-wrenching and things like that. The video is very hard to watch. But as I said, I'm one of those people. I like to see the whole story as much as I can. But I'm not one of those people, well, I need to see the, you know what I'm saying? Because this video we talking about today in regards to the Cincinnati Brawl, them people they didn't care about the whole video, right? But they be the main ones talking about, well, I need to see the whole video. Oh, well, it don't apply in this case because it's your folks that was starting it. And then it was black people who finished it. You know what I'm saying? So all I'm saying is let's just make sure that we don't give them any reason to think that they're justified in taking our life. That's all I'm saying. Facts Not Feelings, how you doing? It says peace and love. Family, sorry I'm late. Always remember F the police, F fascism. USA is going down. This is why that them folks will get more violent with blacks. Yeah, they'll try, but we ain't putting up with it, right? At all. Sunlight says, no, you don't always know about existing warrants. No, you don't. A lot of people be like, I do. I know. You know, that's what I would say anyway.
Well, let me ask you this. Like I said, I've been to court plenty of times. I'm still going. If you know you're supposed to show up for court at a certain date and you didn't show up, right? And that's for a criminal thing. Wouldn't you think you would have a warrant if you didn't show up? I would. I'm just saying, maybe I'm just different, but I know if I was supposed to show up for a criminal case and I didn't show up, a warrant most likely is going to be issued.
Yeah, I mean, but there's to keep it a buck, right? There's some people who don't know that they have a warrant. They just don't know. For whatever reason, they don't know. Now, ordinarily, should you know? Yeah, but there's some people who don't know. You know, there's a lot of people like, I didn't know I had a warrant or whatever the case is. So we don't want to say, you know, it's absolute that everybody should know. You should, but there's some people who just don't, right? It's a surprise. Shine says, whether it's the police or dealing with dudes in the streets, if you resist or try to be tough, then what you think is going to happen to you. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that the police is right, but man, minimize it as much as you can. Hey, Charles, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Looking for questions. Just looking for questions. I see you guys' comments as we are in overtime. I will, Queen Adaya. I will. He said, speak the truth. Brother Ray says, I got to run. We'll be here tomorrow. You better. Be safe out there. Tahada, how you doing? It is my pleasure. I'm glad to see you on here. Okay, just looking for questions. As I see comments, I don't see anybody with a question. Hey, Cooking with Miss D. Hope that you're doing well. Yeah, Albie Chill. Sometimes you do get tickets and you're unaware of it. You might run what do you call it? One of those fast track.
Yeah, the camera lights and stuff.
Yeah, you might run.
Which has been ruled unconstitutional. That's why you don't see them anymore.
Yeah, but or a fast track or something. You went through a toll road and didn't know it, or maybe you did and didn't think it snapped, and then maybe it went to a different address. So there's all kind of scenarios where a person could get a warrant and not know. You know what I mean? Tracy says I'm late. It was in the wrong damn live. Well, what live was you in? Do I have another live up? I hope not. Sorry
Straight
about
to
that.
detention. I want Tracy to go straight to detention right now.
Exactly. Derek says the only way to change the bull is to push the envelope. Shout out to the youth. Yes, I just said that the youth is going to be the ones that's going to be the game changers, right? And I really hope so. I really do. Sunlight says it's common for court appearances never making it to the person in question. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Wrong addresses, all kinds of stuff. Still says they use traffic. They still use traffic cameras. I know in some places they're deemed illegal. Kelser says we as Black people are not taking any mess anymore, and we shouldn't. We shouldn't. Those days are over with. Sagittarius Goddard says, I know a person that didn't miss none of his courts days and still somehow got a warning. He didn't know about it. There you go, right? Biblical Truth 100. I see you with the Bible scriptures. I got you. I see you. I see you. Tahada says, I told my grandmother about the fight. She couldn't understand it, but she was hoping I got a job. I interviewed for Laugh Out Loud. Well, did you get the job? We're inquiring minds want to know. Caitlin, he says, is the program to discuss Section 8 coming up on the Dimitri K broadcast? It's already up. Donovan and I did it earlier. We did it earlier. I think it's at 2:00 Central Time. So a couple hours ago it aired. So it is on this channel. We just did our podcast. So that way we could talk about it. But anyway, I don't see any more questions, and I did do overtime. Brother Don says the only way you can get a warrant for a notice to appear is that you sign it and then fail to appear on your promise to do so. Okay. I try not to know a whole lot about those things. I try not to get warrants. I'm hoping
Tracy
I don't.
says she's not going to detention. Well, guess what? I'm putting a warrant out for Tracy right now.
Uh-oh. Brother Don says, as a former California peace officer administrator, so he said, I know what I'm talking about. So anyway, yes, Brother Salami says, please be careful when you drive in any state. Yeah. Ernest, you say, I got pulled over back in the day because someone used my name. There you go. Didn't have a clue, but the cop was wrong. So that happens too, right? So yes. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. I will be back here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Central Time. Walter claims. What was your question, Al? Put it in here before I leave.
Al said you did not answer his question.
What was the question? Because admittedly, there's a lot of questions in here today. So if you could put it in there really quickly, and I'll wait. So yeah, as I was saying, Walter claims he gonna be here tomorrow. He reached out to me and said, "Oh, I'm coming on tomorrow or on Wednesday." I said, "We'll believe it when we see it, right?" So he showed up, and I'm gonna preface y'all right now. Walter does not bite his tongue, even though I told him you need to bite your tongue. Okay, there's certain things you can't say, but Walter's like, if you want to get to the money, this is how we get to the money. Everything else, y'all deal with that with Dimitri when I ain't here, right? But if y'all want to get to the money, this is how you do it. And admittedly, a lot of people have been helped. He said, okay, look, where to go? He says, I'll be there, and you better be on time too, sucker. Anyway, I could call him that because that's my brother.
Al has a question. There you go.
Okay, I want your opinion on a Raiders football player that got kicked off the team for kissing his teammate. I saw something about it. I guess he kissed him on the forehead in a locker room, and the team mate didn't like it, so he got kicked off. Sounds like it cost him $35 million a contract or whatever the case is. I just say this, and the guy that got kicked off is Black. I don't know what the person is that complained about it. But keep your mouth to yourself, even if that's something, because there are people saying, well, that's just kind of something we do. But I thought about, I'm like, damn, y'all slap each other on the booty, and a kiss on the forehead is what makes you, go off. I don't know. I just say, keep your hands and your mouth to yourself. That's the best policy. So that's what I think. It sucks that he's going to miss out on all that money. But yeah, keep your hands and your mouth to yourself.
Somebody might pick him up on waivers. You never know. And before we go, I want you guys to understand this. That Cowboy Carter, all you women in the beehive, all of you women with the boots on the ground, I want to thank you for being Dallas Cowboy fans. I really do. You guys are finally waking up and realizing you got to run with the winner, and that's to be a Dallas Cowboy fan. 30 years, Super Bowl this year. I said it.
This year, put the cheerleaders in, okay? The cheerleaders are far more interesting than the football players. I watched their documentary on Netflix both seasons, and I think it's an awesome, a documentary. So put the cheerleaders in. People go see them anyway. Yes, Sunlight. So she put up a whole bunch of Black-owned companies that we can and shall support. Brother Reddy says the Cowboys ain't gonna win until they get back on the powder. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Brother Damon says, can I kiss Miss K on the forehead? Yes, you can. You can. You absolutely can. You have my permission. Anyway, King Noble, peace on to you as well. See y'all later. Peace.